What's going on, guys? Rank Up Gaming here, and welcome back to the video. Of course, it is another episode of the Battlefield 1 weapon guides, and this week we are finally doing a gun that is actually used a lot and a lot of people like, but I've never done an episode on it because I just don't find it to be in my sort of top 3 of LMGs. Now, of course, you haven't read the title, then the gun we are doing this week is the Madsen LMG. Now, the history behind this weapon: the Madsen LMG was developed in Denmark and was purposely built for the Danish Ministry of War, who was called, I'm going to butcher this name, Wilhelm Hermann Olof Madsen. Now, he partially designed the gun along with two other developers who eventually designed it in 1896, and then eventually it was adopted by Denmark in 1902. Now, it has some significance because it was the first truly mass-produced light machine gun, and like most of the weapons in Battlefield 1 that are very good, it was really designed like a modern-day LMG. If you look at the design of the Madsen compared to modern-day LMGs, they're basically identical. A few differences in there, especially for the Madsen has the magazine on top and ejects at the bottom, while of course modern-day guns are different. We usually have the magazine at the bottom if it's not belt-fed. Now, the Madsen was actually sold to 34 different countries around the world, and it is actually still in use today in Brazil. Now, despite being sold to 34 different nations, it wasn't really used in World War I. The Russians apparently used it on a few planes and for cavalry units. Also, Denmark, of course, had very little involvement in World War I, but they did sell a lot to the Germans as well, who used it. But aside from that, there really wasn't much use at all. Denmark themselves retired the weapon in 1955, although it did see some action during World War II. Again, it was never a general use weapon, and anyone who used it was more of a backup weapon. If, say, a machine gun unit didn't have enough ammunition for a certain weapon, or it just broke, they'd go and use a Madsen as a backup weapon until they get theirs fixed or get more ammunition. So despite the fact that Denmark retired it in 1955, it was still in use by a lot of armies. It was used in the Portuguese Wars, as well as a bunch of other conflicts, right up until 2010. Now, right now, there are still ones apparently being used in Brazil with the Brazilian Special Forces Police, or the BOP as I believe they're called, and the reason behind their use is the fact they were captured by drug traffickers, or captured off drug traffickers. The traffickers gained them by the Argentinian military, who either bought them off them or they were stolen, and eventually then, once they're caught by the police, the Madsens were taken off them and used again as backup weapons. Officially, the weapon was retired in 2008, but there was a video of the weapon being used from 2015. So although a technically advanced weapon, the Madsen was really used as a backup weapon in basically every conflict it was ever used in. So now, some of the in-game stats of this gun. First of all, the maximum damage is 23, which is average, and basically it has the exact same Now, some of the stats of this gun in-game: the maximum damage is 23, which is identical to every other LMG except for the Shosha LMG, which I believe does 35, which is quite high actually. Now, the minimum damage is 17.5, which is once again average with every other gun except for the Shosha. The rate of fire is 540 rounds per minute, which is second but only behind the bar, which is 600 rounds per minute. So there's only a 60 round per minute difference there, and although that's not major, you can kind of feel there's a slight difference. Now, the magazine size is somewhat small, only has 31 rounds in one magazine, which is small, but if you consider it next to the Bonnet Mercier and the BAR, it's higher than both of those. But then again, it doesn't have the massive magazine capacity of the MG15 or the Lewis gun. Now, of course, there are 3 different variants of this gun. There's the Storm, which is the good ADS sort of combat one, the Trench, which is the more hip-fire orientated one, and the Lightweight, which is more designed to be the LMG. Personally, I'd say the Storm is the best variant of this gun, although you can use basically any of them and do pretty well. The Storm and the Trench are the 2 I definitely recommend above the Lightweight, mainly because the Lightweight has no real advantage, while the Trench is much better hipfire and the Storm is really good at ADS. Now, when you get this gun in game, the first thing you will notice is the massive magazine. The problem with having such a big magazine on the top is that obviously it takes up about half the screen. Now, this is also a problem with the M1918 Automatico, but the difference with that gun is the fact that it's designed to be used in close quarters, so you can basically use the hipfire all the time and never worry about ADS. The problem with this gun is it's not entirely designed for close quarters, and sometimes you will need to use it at long range, and most of the time in close range the rate of fire is too slow and the damage is too low in order to kill somebody quickly. Now it really is a shame that the magazine is so big and takes up such a big part of the screen, because the gun is extremely accurate. I wouldn't quite say that it's Battlefield 3 AR accurate, but it's definitely more of a run and gun weapon to use with the support class compared to the other weapons. You could definitely use this as something like an assault rifle, not quite as well as the BAR, but definitely in a way where you can run around with it and really take out enemies left, right and centre without having to worry about accuracy, the weapon overheating, or the fact that you can't aim down quickly enough. You can easily go up and use this like an assault rifle. The magazine then is excellent as well. The fact that it has 31 rounds is perfectly adequate for having that run and gun style play where you move somewhere, take out a bunch of guys, hide behind cover, reload, and the fact you have a magazine means you can reload reasonably quickly. It's not a super fast reload, but it's definitely fast enough to the point where you can take a minute, reload, and then go again, and you never worry about the fact that, oh god, I've got to wait here and wait to change the whole belt and everything. You can just quickly do it and get back to the combat. You will find that when it comes to suppression, obviously 31 rounds isn't quite enough, but then again, you're not going to use this gun for suppression. Usually you're going to use this to take out enemies, and again, really act as an assault rifle. Now 1-on-1, this gun is still pretty good. It's 45 rounds of course for 1 kill, so that does mean that you can actually take out somebody reasonably quickly, but at the same time the slow rate of fire does mean that you can get beaten out by other assault rifles and a few medic guns if they're able to shoot quicker or get headshots compared to you. And of course that massive magazine does mean that if somebody's strafing left to right and they go behind the magazine, it can make it quite hard then to follow them. You wouldn't think it does, but if imagine somebody's strafing left to right very quickly and you're making minor adjustments to follow them, suddenly they hide behind the magazine, you have no idea which direction they're going to change in, they can pop up from behind the magazine, you're still going left, and then get the kill. There is plenty of power in this gun now, and you've seen a few of these clips. I can actually take out enemies at really long range, and I do it pretty easily. Occasionally I take out a sniper or two that's not too far away, not sniper range, but I can get a few shots on him, get a headshot maybe, and take him out pretty quickly. I would definitely say this gun has a really good bit of range, but I wouldn't say it's better than the best support gun, which is the BAR. So overall I would say this gun is very good, although I would definitely use the BAR over this. The BAR basically takes everything this gun does well and does it much better. Obviously there's a difference in the magazine. The BAR has 11 less rounds, but everything else is much better for the BAR. And again, this gun is very good, but that magazine again just really throws me off. And it's kind of annoying about this gun because the amount of times where somebody's hidden behind it or I can't see my target and they strafe behind it really bugs me. Regardless, this gun has an extraordinary history, and I'm amazed that it actually lasted so long and is possibly still in use today. Now hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Again, I'm trying to get through every weapon in Battlefield 1. Hopefully all of these standard guns, then I'll do the French ones, then I'll do the Russian guns when that DLC comes out as well. But hopefully you guys still enjoy these videos. If you don't, please tell me down below in the comments. If you do enjoy them, tell me as well. There should be some more Rainbow Six Siege content coming out soon, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like Up Gaming, out.